Hello and welcome back to another Walking Dead video, and today I'm going to be talking about every variant that we have in the Walking Dead universe, and there's way more than you think there is. There are some very small variations between walkers, but some very drastic ones, and in today's video I'm going to go through all the different categories of variant walkers in the Walking Dead universe. So let's jump right into this with the basic / general walkers. These take up the majority of the infected, and these are the walkers you see in every single show in the Walking Dead universe. They're slow, they move in hordes, and all they do is eat. There's nothing special about them. These are the basic walkers. Next we got lurkers, and this is what all walkers eventually turn into, and the deeper you go into the apocalypse, the more lurkers occur. And a lurker is when a walker goes so long without food, they have to go into a hibernative state and just lay down and play dead basically, and wait for food to come to them. This is when walkers run out of food, so they adapt and become a lurker. Number 3 is a bloater. And these are quite rare in the Walking Dead universe, and you've only seen them a handful of times throughout all the shows. And this is when a walker becomes waterlogged. You see them in Season 2 and in Season 11, and you see them around where there's a lot of water, and they basically just fill up with liquid, and if you try to push them off, their skin peels away, pus comes out them. They are very deadly because of the sheer weight that they have, unlike most other walkers, which are relatively quite light compared to the bloater. The next variant is the armoured / riot walker, and the reason they get their own category is that survivors have to change their style when attacking these walkers. You can't go for the head because most of the time it's got a helmet on it, but these walkers can't really bite you. So what makes these walkers deadly is you can't really attack them, but these walkers can slow you down, making it easier for the other variants to catch up and be the one to eat you. And moving on, we now have the plague walkers, and these are walkers that are infected with a flu that almost wiped out Rick Grimes' prison community. They're not seen much outside of Season 4, however these walkers can be clearly identified by the black and red pus coming out of their eyes and ears. These walkers, they might fight and sound and act like normal walkers, however getting their guts on you can get you sick very quickly, and they can kill you well after they are already gone themselves. After that we now have the environmental walkers, and these are all walkers that have been affected by the environment, like having bees living inside them, or having fungus, or being camouflaged by foliage. These walkers be quite deadly because of how varied they can be, and are seen more often later into the apocalypse. Some really deadly ones are walkers that have plants on them that could blind you when you try and stab the walker, like Aaron was blinded for one night in Season 10 because he attacked one of these walkers. And now moving on is the category I call human walkers, and these are all the walkers that have been modified by humans in the apocalypse. Some famous versions of this walkers are Winslow from Season 7 of The Walking Dead, where a metal bucket's put on his head with spikes to make it harder to kill him, or the taxidermy walkers from Fear the Walking Dead Season 6. This is a category where you could put any walker that's been heavily modified by a human to make it harder to kill, and a lot of the time it's when something's metal been put on the head to make it harder to kill the walker. And the next variant are pets, and these are very similar to human-made walkers because the human has to go remove their arms and the teeth, but I put them in their own category because these walkers aren't like every other walker. These walkers are docile. Without their arms and teeth, the walkers lose their ability to eat, and because of that they no longer see humans as a food source, and these walkers can be used for humans to camouflage themselves in a horde. Even if the human's not wearing any guts or a mask, if they have a pet near them, the pet makes all the other walkers around think the human is an actual walker. And now moving on to the more interesting variants, we have protectors, and this variant was only seen in one episode in Tales of the Walking Dead, and this variant walker is a hunter for the herd. This variant will walk ahead of the herd, go out of its way to kill something and then not eat it and walk ahead so the herd can go and eat that. This is a very weird walker that is basically exactly the same as a roamer or any other type of walker. It's just it purposely is getting food for other walkers. And moving past the protector, we have the radioactive / radiation walkers from Fear the Walking Dead 5, 6, and 7. And these walkers could be classed as an environmental walker, but what makes them so different is that these walkers can kill you from contact. You can kill this walker and be fine for a bit. However, your weapon's contaminated, your clothes are contaminated. If you get their blood on you, you become contaminated and eventually will die from radiation sickness. This walker could be long dead by the time it kills you, and that's because of the after effects of and the potential dangers of radiation walkers is that you can't kill them easily. You have to stay far away, so having a herd of radiation walkers means that a survivor would be screwed. Next we have roamers, and this is one of the more interesting variants because this variant actually remembers parts of their past. You only really see this variant of walker in season 1 and 2 of The Walking Dead, and these variants go out the way to go back to where they lived or pick up something that used to belong to them, like the girl in episode 1 of The Walking Dead where she picks up her teddy, or Morgan's wife who walks back to their family home and tries to open the door to get inside. These variants kind of relive parts of their past and are one of the scarier types of walkers because they can almost seem human at times by the way that they act. The next variant is the smart walkers, and these are the walkers from season 1, 2 and 11 of The Walking Dead, and the only big variant in the United States outside of the roamers. These variant walkers can climb, pick up tools, and if you try and hit them, they can sometimes go and grab your weapon as well. These variants know how to open doors, and when later in the seasons Aaron encountered them, he assumed it was a whisperer because it doesn't act like a walker. These are quite scary, these walkers, because a lot of survivors think they're myths and legends, and when they come across them, they're almost stuck to the ground in horror, seeing a walker climb a wall. And the next variant is the Walker King, and this is when a walker merges with a bunch of other walkers to make this Rat King monstrosity. It has only ever been seen in Dead City, and these walkers form in intense heat and high pressure locations, a lot like sewers. Surprisingly, these Walker Kings are fast and can be very deadly to unseasoned survivors because of their speed and massive weight behind them. And that is all the variants that we have in the United States. However, there are still more in France, and where all the more deadly variants are. So our next one is the Runner, and these variants are highly aggressive, can run, and they turn in a matter of seconds, if more, only a couple minutes. These variants also can remember where they've been shot, as seen in the World Beyond post-credit scene when a woman is shot in the back, and then when she turns, the variant remembers that the target was behind them. This variant can be very scary because you can no longer outrun the walkers, and anyone can turn into a runner. So if someone died, there is a chance that you would have to run for your life because they could turn into a variant walker. Next we have the Burners, which are the most common variant walker in France, and they might not be as fast or as aggressive as the Runner, but I would still argue these are way more deadly because you cannot fight these as a conventional sense. These walkers have acid on their skin and in their blood. You cannot get any of the blood on you, and they cannot touch you, and if they do and the acid gets on you, it burns your skin, and if it's left alone, you can die from an infection, and you have to then go get your skin cauterized to treat it. These are very deadly walker variants, and they're very common, which makes them so deadly. And I'm moving on to the final variant, which is the hybrid walker, and this is easily the most dangerous variant in the entirety of the Walking Dead universe, and it's also not a naturally occurring variant. This variant happens when a chemical concoction is introduced to an already existing walker, and its head will either explode, or if it survives that, it turns into the hybrid variant, which you can tell by its blackened eyes. What makes this variant so dangerous is that it has the Burner's blood. the aggression and speed of the runner variant, and also super strength and a chaotic nature, which makes it attack anything it sees, human or walker. And that's the one downside of this variant, is that it could get distracted and end up killing other types of walkers instead of its intended target. And I do have to also mention, the hybrid in Daryl Dixon Season 1 was only a prototype. So going to Daryl Dixon Season 2 and beyond, they're going to make this variant way more sophisticated, and it could unlock more abilities or become way more stable, and they might be able to get rid of the killing other walkers aspect of this hybrid walker. And those are all the variants in the Walking Dead universe as of now. So please tell me down below, do you think I missed out any variation of the walker? And which is your favourite variant walker? For me, it has to be maybe the roamers or even the runners. But I'll let you know what your thoughts are down below. But that's it for me today. So goodbye, peace out, and I'll talk to you later.